The game between Real Madrid and Benfica was a very stale game until the moment when Vinicius Jr. scored that wonderful goal to give life to the game. Unfortunately, the story of the match was overclouded with the story of racial slurs being said from one player to the other, as against a beautiful goal that was scored the other day. And it's very shameful when we have to sit down and then begin to talk about these issues again, especially in 2026. And then you look at comments coming from the player saying that the Benfica player Prestiani saying on his official X platform that I want to clarify that at no point did I direct racist insults at Vinicius Jr., who unfortunately misinterpreted what he believes to have heard. Him coming out to deny it, and then to even make matters worse, the club released a statement on their official X channel denying this exact incident, saying as the image demonstrates, given the distance, the Real Madrid players could not have heard what they claim to have heard. I mean, such response from a club. If Prestiani was not hiding anything or didn't want anything to be heard, why would he go a step further to even cover his mouth that way? Does he have a flu, as Thierry Henry rightly stated? Does he have a flu all of a sudden to have made an extra step to cover his nose the way he did? And to even make matters worse, Jose Mourinho, a coach that has the respect of most football fans, post-match coming out to make statements like him saying that he was telling Vinicius Jr. at the time that the greatest player in the history of Benfica is black. That is Eusebio, and that there is no way Benfica is a racist club, right? And then doubling down to further say that Vinicius Jr. is the same player that this type of incidents happen with in different stadiums all the time is absolutely shameful. I mean, for the caliber of person that he is and what he has done for the game, and for him to come out with such a statement is very, very shameful in my personal opinion. And then again, let me even give a breakdown of the game. Like I said earlier, it was a stale game until that brilliant goal that was scored by Vinícius Jr. That was the goal that brought the game to life. And then Vinícius going to the corner flank to celebrate by dancing, and then him being carded. Of course, a lot of fans will be like, why is he being carded for celebrating for dancing as a celebration? I personally do not think that was the reason why Vinícius was carded. I feel like, if you look at the clip, right, Vinícius Jr., yes, went to the corner flank to celebrate by dancing. Afterwards, there were Benfica players that were going to him to tell him to calm down, but Vinícius doubled down by raising, his shirt, and I think that was the point where the referee felt like it was too much, and then he went ahead to card Vinícius Jr. for it. And then, again, when you look at that game, the celebration being carded, yes, I've cleared that, and then Prestiani making the kind of, immediately after that yellow card, going back to the restart, and Prestiani making the kind of racial slur that was alleged by Vinícius Jr. And then for if you look at that clip, immediately Vinícius Jr. heard what he heard. Of course, he went straight to the referee to report the incident, which led to the stoppage of the game at the time. And then at the end of the day, you then realize that yes, truthfully, referees' hands are tied. There is no way they would have been able to do anything because the player went a step further to cover his mouth. And then when you look at it, you begin to ask the question: is Vinícius Jr. mad to have reported such an incident to the referee? And if Prestiani was not making such a statement or such a racial slur to Vinícius Jr., why would he even go a step further to cover his nose? And then, like Thierry Henry rightly said, did he develop flu all of a sudden? And then when you look at these things, we beginning to discuss these same issues in 2026. It's just shameful, And then I to a very large extent, I admire Kylian Mbappe because he stood up for Vinicius at the time. And then if you look at this clip, you see when Jose Mourinho was even trying to, speak and talk to Vinícius Jr. to come back into the pitch, Kylian went to him to tell him that he should not, downplay the fact that Vinícius Jr. was racially, abused, by Prestiani. And then at the end of the day, when you look at Prestiani leaving, when he was being subbed off, in the game, he was applauded by the fans. Of course, you can say that the fans perhaps did not know what had happened on the pitch at the time, but at the end of the day, he was applauded for perhaps I don't know what. And then because Vinicius Jr. reported such an incident, you would notice that in the game, whenever he had the ball, there were boos on him. And the same thing went to Kylian Mbappe, just because Kylian Mbappe stood for Vinicius Jr. And then when you look at all of these incidents, I think it's just shameful. It's shameful that a beautiful game, and for the record, Real Madrid had never beaten Benfica in an European game before. And then for them to have scored the way they did and to have done it away from home, it's a big goal at the time for the team, especially given that they are playing the second leg at home. So when these types of games and beautiful goals are then overshadowed by issues of racial abuse here and there, it's just shameful. And personally, I feel like Prestiani should be punished. Of course, he would come out to deny it like he had done on his official X channel. He would deny it. And then when you don't expect him to come out and say that, I heard it. And trust me, I believe if he didn't say that, he wouldn't have gone the extra step to cover his mouth the way he did. So personally, I do not think Vinicius is lying, and I completely applaud Kylian Mbappe for standing up for his teammate the way he did. And then it's just shameful that at the end of the day, it looks like the game in UEFA tries to, encourage teams and players to show respect to their opponents regardless of their race, color, and all of those things. But at the end of the day, it seems like it's just words with no actions. I honestly would love to see an action taken against Prestiani, and then like Mbappe rightly said in his post-match statement, that Prestiani does not deserve to should not come to Bernabeu because he does not deserve to play in one of the best stadiums of the world. So I honestly believe, I honestly would love to see action taken against this player so players can equally learn from it. And then yes, you can banter a player all you want, like the captain of Benfica did, Otamendi, when he was showing Vinicius his World Cup winning tattoo. Yes, those things can happen. It is carried. There are other ways they taunt players, yes, but to abuse a player because of the color of his skin, man, I just hope that UEFA does something, and then they do it very quickly as well, so that other players can learn from this. So in 2026, we don't continually begin to talk about this type of issues in the beautiful game. So yeah, that's my personal opinion.